This is not a test. This is your emergency broadcast system announcing the commencement of the annual Purge sanctioned by the U.S. government. DNFing books for any reasons have been authorized for use during the Purge. Books that are not in the included category for the video have been granted immunity at this time and shall not be purged. Commencing at the siren, any and all DNFing will be legal until the end of this video. Bookstores of any kind will be unavailable until the end of the video until the Purge concludes. Blessed by Barnes & Noble, indie bookstores, and all other booksellers, a nation reborn. May God be with you all. Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be starting the Purge. I know you guys have been so excited for this. I know it's not exactly the one that you guys wanted to watch. It is the horror Purge and not the next Fairy Loot Purge. But good news is I am currently working on my Fairy Loot Purge. That is what I am using to detox from all of the horror books that I just read. So that hopefully will be coming out in November at some point, and then hopefully every other month. I would love to put one out November and December, but we'll see. It just depends on how many other things that I have to read for keeping up with my book boxes, because I also need to get that done by the end of the year, which don't see entirely happening, but we'll see. But yeah, welcome to the horror Purge, and I'm pretty kind of excited about this. I basically need to go get all the books from my entire house. I am not gonna go get the books from upstairs. I will get the books from like the stairwell of bookish hell, but I am not gonna go all the way up and search through all those boxes. I don't think there's that many. There are like a couple. There's really not that many to make it worth my time to go through all of those. So those will be included probably in next year's horror Purge, depending on if I choose to do one. I probably will. I enjoy doing one of these every Halloween. So anyway, that being said, I'm gonna take you with me to go collect all of our horror books, and then afterwards I will explain the rules. But we are gonna be using a TBR jar, and we are gonna be trying to get through as many of these books as we can. So let's go find all of my horror books.
talk about. Quiet with a big mouth, listen for the doubt, then call it. Make you out for what you say to me. Look at every single date. If you got what I need, then oh, I'll take you on like a big deal. Legs you can unseal, key in ignition. Just keep me full like at a meal. Once in a while, feel all that I know you like it, can't fight it. I'ma let you ride the wave. I'm New York and you're LA. Come together, feel the shock waves.
Okay, now that you've seen all the books collected that we were going to try to read, let's actually pick what book that we're going to be reading because I think it'll be fun. Originally, I was going to do like reading all of the lowest, so it was like a purge, but I feel like that's unfair to these books to like just march down the line of the worst listed on Goodreads, especially with horror, because horror can get a really bad rap just depending on what type of horror you like. So horror generally does have lower ratings than all the other genres. It just does. Like, it has such a low rating. So I feel like it's not fair to do it that way. I think a TBR jar is the better option, and that way I'm not just picking and choosing which ones I think I'm going to like and only reading those, like what I've been doing throughout the year. And then the books that I don't want to read are then still stuck in the stacks, and so that's just really annoying. So I think how this is gonna go, I am gonna give myself some skips. If it is a book that I have bought this year, that is the only type of book that I am allowed to skip. I don't think I have that many. If it is a book that I bought this year, I am allowed to skip it. Otherwise, it's going. If I'm not interested in reading it and I pick it, it's going. Because at this point, it's like, oh, I will tell myself, you can go get it again if you're really that interested in reading it later. But the fact that I've owned most of these books for a very long time and haven't read them yet, I'm not gonna go pick it up. I'm gonna forget that I had it, let's be honest. So this is really trying to purge these books, and after I finish the Fairy Loot purges, that's kind of what we'll move on to, genre purges, or like years books came out purges, just stuff to like cull these books and keep them low numbers. So because I haven't done a purge in quite a while, you can tell. So reading on my BookBox books is helping a lot, but you definitely can tell that things are kind of stacking up a little bit, and I'm just not reading stuff that's especially old stuff. So with that being said, let's pick our first book. Again, if I am not interested, I'm probably gonna give all of these at least a chapter, but if I'm not vibing within like the first page even, it's going. Again, I will get a skip for books that I've bought this year. So this wasn't the best idea because I have small hands and it's still hard to reach down here, and like those are the books, yeah, there's not that many. So anyway, so first book we have, oh, okay, it's got to be the one that fell out, right? Like that's how that works. Okay, yes, it is the one that fell out. We have, oh yeah, I just painted, by the way. We have, what does it say? Oh, Our Crooked Hearts. That's gonna be an interesting one. That's really, really gonna be an interesting one because I loved the Hazelwood. I actually really like the Hazelwood. Did not read the Night Country. Is it the Night Country? I'm gonna get rid of like that series just because I'm already past that. I'm past that point, I think, in my life. So now I'm worried like about Our Crooked Hearts. I don't know exactly what kind of book this is, but yeah, I was just working on my library. I was painting and it got everywhere because I was moving a bunch of tarps and stuff around and didn't realize there was a ton of wet paint on it. So that is everywhere, and I've tried to wash it off and it's not coming off. So I'm sure when I scrub later, like in the shower and stuff, it'll hopefully get more off than I have, but it's literally everywhere. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna pick 3 at a time because this is a true purge. We might be going through these books pretty fast, and I think it'll be kind of nice to give myself 3 options because I am a mood reader. So if I give myself a couple of options, that could help me based on what mood I'm in. So, but I will be focusing on these 3. So we're gonna pick 2 more. Next, we're going to pick this one, and I felt like it was appropriate wearing my, I think, was it Bookish Babes shirt? I don't even know what this one says. Bloody Book Club. I feel like that's pretty appropriate. I love this shirt. These shirts are so comfortable. Okay. Here is, what does it say? Dead 11. Ooh, this is a book that I bought this year. I do want to read that though. So we are going to pull it and hopefully we'll get to that one. I'm really excited about Dead 11, and probably because I literally just bought it. Then for the last one for this round, We have this one, and I don't know which way is up. We have, oh, what does it say? I feed her to the beast. And the beast is me, I think is what the total title is. That is also one that I have bought this year, so that's actually pretty cool. I feed her to the beast and Dead 11. If I get a chapter in and I'm not feeling it, I can veto them and put them back in the pile and choose more books. So we are going to be attempting to read Our Crooked Hearts, I Feed Her to the Beast, and Dead 11 for this beginning section. I will be pulling more books. All right, so let's talk about the first 3 books that I picked because 2 of the 3 are going to be going. They're going to be going. I still haven't read Dead 11 and I am going to try reading this one. I just haven't gotten to it because I tried the other 2 first. So we are still going to be trying to read Dead 11. I may be thinking I might use a skip because it is a book that I bought in 2025 and I just don't know if I'm vibing with this right now, but so far I want to keep it, so we'll see. The next time I update you all, I will let you know either I'm going to continue reading it or I'm going to put it back on my shelves basically. But for the other 2 that we picked, we have Our Crooked Hearts, which I will be getting rid of. I actually didn't even get to read this one. I saw some reviews online that were talking about animal cruelty and a lot of bunny deaths and animal deaths, and I was like, honestly, I already am just not that interested in this book, so that included within this, I'm like, whatever, I'm not interested enough to read this. So this is going to be our first purge of the video. Then I actually found my copy of The Camp. I am not even going to read this. I didn't even include it on the spinner, or no, what is it? What am I using? I'm using this. I didn't even include it in the TBR jar because I don't want to read this at all. I've heard terrible things about this. Lexi tried reading this and I trust Lexi when it comes to horror books, so I'm not going to read this book. And then this one really upsets me. This really, really upsets me. I was so excited to read this one. And it is I Feed Her to the Beast and then the Beast is me. I just really don't like the main character. I really don't. I love the ballet world because I think it is very cutthroat. It is a perfect setting for a thriller and a horror because of the horrors that happen behind the scenes. Like, it's such a beautiful art form and it's rigorous and intense, and ballerinas are some of probably the most athletic people on the planet. And I think it's a good landscape for a horror book, but unfortunately, I really just didn't like the main character and I didn't like the dynamics that she had with her best friend. And that's kind of really what killed me here is her best friend. So basically this is following our main character who is a black ballerina in this Paris university kind of thing. I don't know what they call it. Academy? I think it's an academy. And so she is the only black ballerina among a sea of incredibly white other ballerinas. Because as we all know, a lot of these performing arts, especially ballet, they want you to look very uniform and they have a very specific idea of what a ballerina should look like. So our main character is not what the professionals think a ballerina should look like. So I love this aspect of what we're talking about. But unfortunately, she is so mean to so many people, specifically the best friend. Like, she is actively kind of wishing bad things on her best friend, and the best friend has done absolutely nothing to her. So I was having a really hard time understanding where she was coming from, relating to the best friend specifically. Everyone else was kind of like, okay, yeah, they were kind of being nasty, so I get it. But with the best friend specifically, I just... it's like the one person in your corner and you're not treating them kindly. And then the pacing for this one was also really, really slow. So I just like wasn't interested in continuing this one. So unfortunately, this one did not work for me. Seems like a lot of people had trouble with the pacing as well. So I'm just really disappointed. If this was a standalone also, I feel like I would have been more likely to finish this one. It almost feels like this book is like dragging itself out to add a second book in is kind of how it feels. So unfortunately, I am gonna DNF this one and it will be purged. So that means we're gonna pick 2 more books because we have purged 2 that were picked. We're still gonna attempt Dead 11, but I would like to pick 2 more because I think working on 3 at a time is kind of nice because I can just pick and choose which one I want to read. The next one we are going to attempt to read. Oh, I picked so okay, one fell out. One fell out. If it falls out, it like automatically is picked. So we have, I made these like the tiniest things ever. We have, oh, this is a good pick. This is a good pick. The Chill. I have had this book for a very long time. This needed to be picked in this video. And then the next one, I'm hoping for like Ecstasia or one of those that I've also had for a really, really long time. I think, what is this? Oh, this is a new release, Titan of the Stars. This is a brand new release. I literally have it right here. I'm excited. This is a shorty patorti. It's like sci-fi horror. It's supposed to be alien-esque, So I love the movie Aliens, so I really hope I end up liking this one. So we are going to attempt to read Dead 11, Titan of the Stars, and then The Chill is in another room. So I'm gonna go grab that and we'll see which ones we end up keeping and which ones we end up purging. I have updates for you guys. I have not read anything yet. Still haven't read anything yet, but I am going to be giving you an update on 2 books. I have decided to use a skip on Dead 11. I did buy this in 2025, and one of my rules for this video is if I got it in 2025, I can skip it if I want to. It is nice having my 2025 books on here though, because if I really do want to read them, it's nice to read them and get them out of the way as well. But with this one, it's going to be a slower drawn out story, and I'm getting a bit of horror fatigue halfway through October because of all the other vlogs and stuff that I've done so far. I've just read a lot of horror, so it's got to be something specific right now if I'm gonna enjoy it. And I really want to give this one like my full attention, my full thoughts, and it doesn't help right now that I'm reading The Twisted Ones by T. Kingfisher for another video, and I'm really not enjoying it, which I wasn't expecting. So I'm kind of bummed about that right now because this is like the first horror book by T. Kingfisher that is looking to be lower than a 3, or a 3 or lower, but we'll see. I actually got towards the ending, but I am gonna skip Dead 11 right now, but I'm still very excited to read it. It's just not what I need to read right now. And then I am gonna be purging The Chill. I'm not super surprised about this one. This is a book that I've had for a really long time. I was super excited for like the couple of days that I had picked it up. And then when I didn't read it, I kind of lost all interest in this. And I think I got this in like the bargain book section. This is when I bought this when I was still buying stuff from like bargain areas. I've been trying to be really, really good about not doing that, not just picking up random books. If I see a book that I have been wanting, it's already on my TBR, that's the only time that I buy from just like used bookstores and bargain sections, because they can suck you in. You can see, oh, that looks good. Oh, that looks good. It's only $5. And then that adds up. And then you have a bunch of books that you may not actually want to read, and a ton of books that you do want to read that you end up kind of, everything just ends up sitting there. So this is one of those books, bargain section book. Thought it sounded really, really good. Not my style of book, so I am going to be purging this one. That means that we have Titan of the Stars left. I am reading that one. I am enjoying that one right now. I don't have too much to say. I'm still early into that one, but I do want to pick 2 more. It is nice being able to rotate between 3 books. It's kind of giving me this like, oh, if I pick this up and I'm not interested in it, is it just me? I'm just not into reading right now. But then I pick up another one and I'm like, oh, yes, I'm into reading right now. So we are going to pick 2 to go with Titan of the Stars. Here is one. And this one is, I don't know why I wrote so small. Like I could have, what does that say? Where Sleeping Girls Lie. Oh, that's a chunky one. That's a chunky one, but I've heard really, really, really good things about that one. So Where Sleeping Girls Lie, we're going to pick that one up. I think that is a book that I did buy in 2025. So I can skip that one if I'm not feeling it right now. Titan of the Stars is that way too, but I think I'll be good to finish that one. We'll see. And then there's our next one. At least this piece of paper is a little bigger. Let's see. House of Roots and Ruin. Ooh, you know what? I think I'm going to skip this one because I am going to be doing an Erin A. Craig video in November with Shay Earnshaw to find if I can lock both of them in as new 5-star favorites. Okay, we're gonna skip that one because we're also skipping The 13th Child if we pick that as well. That was like a new decision after I started this video, so I am pulling that one from the pile. That stinks. I feel like that was a home run pick, but I know I'm not gonna purge that one right now, so that kind of feels like it defeats the purpose. So let's try that again. Ugh, if I pick The 13th Child, I'm gonna be really mad. I'm gonna be really, really, really mad. And we have, there it is. We have Don't Let the Forest In. Do I want to do that? Do I want to do that to myself? I bought it in 2025. I feel like I'm defeating the purpose of this game. I am going to leave this one out for now. Don't Let the Forest In is a very emotional book that deals with depression. And when I added this into the little container, I was doing well, but my health flared up a little bit recently. I'm still okay, but my health has been flaring up a little bit these past couple of days. So I don't think for my mental health, I can do this one right now. So this is a 2025 book. I will be passing on this one. Oh man, this is not what I had intended for this video, just picking these books. Okay, see, you can at least tell, like, I'm not cutting this stuff. You can tell it's real what I'm picking. Okay, next. Oh. It's the one that falls out. It's always the one that falls out. And I saw something haunted on there. That makes me even more mad. I like haunted things. Okay, the one that I had to put back. This says can you read it? The Whispering Dead. That's a Darcy Coates. That's a short Darcy Coates that I've had for a really, really long time. Ooh, okay, that's a good one. That's a good one. So we pulled The Whispering Dead and we pulled Where Sleeping Girls Lie. Where Sleeping Girls Lie is a book I got in 2025, but I really think I want to read that right now. I want to try that one. And then The Whispering Dead is one I've gotten a while ago, so this is up for purging if I don't enjoy it, but fingers crossed that we do end up liking it. So I have 2 more updates for you guys. Apparently this is how this purge vlog is gonna go, is I'm just gonna like do a bunch of stuff and then come back and update you guys. So I do have 2 updates, and one actually includes finishing a book, which is wild concept because I also have one that is gonna make me break the rules a little bit. So let's talk about the book let's do the rule breaker first because it's a lot easier. So, like I said, I was only supposed to be able to skip books that I bought this year. I honestly cannot remember if I bought this book this year or not. I can't find it like written down anywhere, but I absolutely do not want to read this book. I don't want to read this book, but I think I could actually really, really like it. I think it's just, I've read a book by this author recently and I just don't want to read this style of book right now. Sometimes that happens. It doesn't actually have anything to do with the book. It is, I am not in the mood to read this at all. I'm not going to enjoy my time reading it, and I think I could like this. So, The Whispering Dead by Darcy Coates. I just read a book by her, and I just don't want to read this cozy horror right now. Maybe later in the video, maybe if I'm feeling reading it later, I'll read it. But as of right now, I really don't want to read this, but I also don't want to get rid of it. So this is actually going to go back in my TBR. It's not going to go back in the jar. I'm going to keep it out because I don't think I'm going to be in the mood to read any Darcy Coates. So at this point, any Darcy Coates that I pull, I am probably just going to skip. So I'll show you that if that happens, but I don't want to read that style of book right now. And again, I think it's because I just read a book by her. That being said, I feel like I do need to instate some sort of punishment because I did immediately break the rules. I think I'm going to do is, you guys know generally how my vlogs work is I tend to read about 3 books. My new horror vlog was way crazier than that. We had a bunch of different books in that because I had a really long time to actually work on that vlog. But how the purge videos kind of work is generally I read and purge until I fully read 3 books, or if I have a bunch of extra time, then I'll just keep reading. But I normally at least get 3 books. So I think my punishment is reading fully 4 books in this video if I have time. Like, I'm gonna be nice to myself. The one that I did end up finishing, you guys probably know since it's the only one I didn't talk about, is Titan of the Stars. This is Alien meets Titanic, which I've said already, and you know what? It is Alien meets Titanic. And I think the problem with that is Titanic is like, what, a 4-hour movie? If you translate a 4-hour movie into a book, it's like 1,000 pages. And I think that is the major pitfall for this book, is it is way too short for all the stuff that it tried to do. So I am going to give this a solid 3 stars. It's a solid 3 star. I liked a lot of what it did. I really liked the characters, but it just wasn't fleshed out enough for everything it tried to do. This is following our main characters, Celeste and Dominic, and they are the Rose and Jack characters of Titanic. And I think this book did this in a really good way. And man, I wish this had been like 500 pages. It would have been so good. So book started off very much more similar to Titanic, and then kind of the back half of the book definitely went more Alien. Well, it kind of had The Thing in there a little bit as well, which I thought was kind of fun. It has a lot of The Thing in this. I would almost comp this as The Thing meets Titanic, and I'll explain that in a second. So the Titanic aspect of this, so basically Celeste's portion and her background and stuff, that stuff reads more The Thing / Alien, while Dominic's section is more the Titanic side of things. So Dominic is actually a Rose character, and Celeste is actually the Jack character. And the Jack character is kind of doing all the alien stuff and being in the lower decks and stuff like that, while Dominic is primarily only Titanic until the end of the story. I thought that was a really cool way to almost have like 2 different things kind of joined because of these 2 characters interacting. So I thought that was really, really neat. Why it seems like The Thing more is they talk about permafrost, and the aliens in this control hosts, which is very, very the thing. And that's not a spoiler, that's just what they do. Very, very the thing compared to Alien, which is, it doesn't do that. It doesn't do that. There was an iconic scene though from Alien that they put in this. I wish they had like drawn it out more. It would have been really, really good. But again, that was the giant pitfall, is it was just not long enough for all the stuff it wanted to do. So less stuff with the thing and everything. It had the aliens. They were talking about a lot about the like corruption of the ship and like the people who own it, which is a big alien thing. And then you had the actual alien portions of this. Then you have Dominic's section, which I said is the Titanic section. He has awful parents and they are all about money. That's everything that they want. And then he is dating a kind of verbally abusive, very wealthy dude at the beginning of the book, which is very similar to Rose's situation. And Dominic really doesn't get to choose his path in life. So he becomes immediately kind of enamored with the other people on the ship that aren't of his station. So he likes talking to the engineers and people considered beneath him. So it's a really, really interesting mix. The problem is the first 150 pages actually were really, really good. It was a really good buildup. The problem is it needed another 100 pages at least of buildup and creepy things happening, because it hit a point where it was just like, okay, the aliens now take over. So there was no, why Alien is so good is it's insidious. And like when they're hunting it, like you're still like, ooh, is it gonna be around the corner? Is it gonna be over here? And I just never felt that. It was just like, it went from nothing to gore, to everybody dead. And I think that was the biggest pitfall of this book, is because it didn't have enough time to do a giant section in the middle where they're either hunting this thing or it's hunting them. I do think it ended very interestingly. It opens up a Titan of the Stars 2 potentially in a similar way of Alien. I don't know. This was a tough one because I think it had such a good backbone. It had such a good idea. It merged the stories really, really well, including adding some of the thing in there. I just think it needed to be like 200 to 300 pages longer, because I think it was 297 pages. I would say 200 more pages. It should have been 500 pages, and it would have been able to delve into all the stuff it wanted to talk about, because it was talking about corruption of things. It was talking about the indentured servants that were being taken over to Mars. It was talking about political systems and greed and corrupt policies. And it's like, it was so much good stuff, but there just wasn't enough of it. There wasn't enough of it. So you just didn't get really super connected to what was going on. So biggest critique, it wasn't long enough. So it ends up getting a 3-star, but I'm really glad that I read it. I'm glad it's beautiful, and it actually fit the comps 100% perfectly. I feel like that is so rare to read something and it's like, oh, this is ACOTAR meets something, and then you're reading it and you're like, no, it's really not like that. Or you come up with like 100 different things. It is more like than the 2 things that they brought up. So yeah, I brought up the thing, but generally it is an alien story, with the aliens being just a little bit more like the stuff from the thing. But 100% Titanic, 100% Alien. Great comps for this book. So if you are at all interested, I would pick this up. I do think it's really interesting. It is very YA though. It is, I will say, it is actually kind of gory for a YA, but it is very YA. So if you don't like YA, it is not going to be your vibe. It is our first finished book of the horror purge. I'm really excited. That is one that I definitely did not want to purge. That was a brand new pick. I would have been very upset if we ended up purging that one. So I'm glad that was not a purge, but that's why I have that rule, that I can skip 2025 purchases. It just like relieves some of the pressure that I feel trying to read them. So we have TBR Jar is back. We are going to be picking 2 because of that little punishment. And we have Where Sleeping Girls Lie on deck. So I don't know what I'm going to read next. So let's see what we end up picking. This one is like right on top. I felt it immediately. We have... Oh, focus. I literally can't tell. They Bloom at Night. Ooh, this is a shorty patorti. I think I got this one this year too. They Bloom at Night. Dang, I keep picking 2025 books. I think it's because I got rid of a lot of my old horror books last year when I did my first ever purge wasn't actually called a purge. It was reading a ton of my horror books to figure out my horror taste. And that's actually what inspired the purge, because I DNF'd so many things and I got rid of so many things that I was like, oh, we should do that. So I got rid of a lot of stuff last October. So a lot of my stuff is 2025 releases. This jar would not be nearly as full without those 2025 releases, but we're going to attempt to read They Bloom at Night. I'm actually really excited about this one. I think this one's a lot different than the other stuff we've been picking up. So I think that might help with a little bit of the horror burnout. So hopefully that is different than stuff we've been reading. Next is, ooh, I had one and then I dropped it, but I guess it was meant to be, okay. I need to make these little slips bigger next time because these are way too small. Is that upside down? That is upside down. What is this? This is a long title. This is the, oh, what does it say? What does it say? I don't know why it's not focusing like literally at all. It's because the font's too big. What does it say? The Haunting of the Sunshine Girl. Oh, that's a good pick. That's a good pick because this is an older book. It's one that I don't necessarily think that I'm that interested in anymore. So this is a good candidate for purging. I am curious if I'm going to be interested in it. I'm a little worried it's going to read kind of young because it is another young adult book. I think both of these, all three that I'm reading right now are young adult, which isn't that surprising. I buy more young adult horror than I do adult horror. So we are going to go find The Haunting of the Sunshine Girl. I don't know where this book is. It is about 30 minutes later. This isn't it. This isn't it. This is definitely a younger, much younger young adult to potentially middle grade. I didn't get much farther into the book, but I should have known from Wes Craven. Wes Craven did a thing on the back of here, but R.L. Stine did one, and I was like, ooh, that does sound like it's going to be on the younger side of things. And yeah, she like says good golly and geez Louise as phrases, and I kind of say that stuff as a joke in real life, but I don't want to really read about a character who's like this, and she's like not like other girls, and she's very quirky, and it just reads very middle grade. And I think middle grade can be great. I am just not personally a fan of middle grade for my personal taste. Purging that one. So next, we're still good on Where Sleeping Girls Lie and Where They Bloom at Night. But like I said, I'm trying to read 4 books in this, not 3. So we got to pick one more. This is so fun, guys. I'm picking so many. This is about how purges go, though. Let's be honest. Okay, let's see. This is, for some reason, this camera angle does not like looking at what these books are. What does that say? What does that say? What does that say? The Honeys. Oh. I've tried reading this book a couple times. You know what? I'm just going to purge it. I'm going to purge it. I'm going to purge The Honeys. I have tried reading it a couple of times. I tried reading it last year during the purge, or right before I did the purge video, or it was like the last thing that was picked and I was just burnt out. I have had less than 0. I've had negative desire to pick that book up. I didn't like the writing, and I should have just gotten rid of it last year, but the cover's so beautiful, and I love the idea of this like elite school, but it just didn't work for me when I tried it last time. But I was really holding out hope, and the fact that I pulled The Honeys and I immediately dreaded picking it up, I think that's a DNF. So I will go show it later, but we are going to purge The Honeys. Well, that was easy. Let's try another one. Oh, man. Okay. This one right here. Please be a good one. Please be one that I want to read. What does it say? Why does it work best against the Hounding? Oh, okay. That's a 2025 pickup, but I think this is a perfect one for this video because this is one that I'm like, I picked up with a lot of interest in it. And the more I've heard people talk about it, the less good it sounds, the less interested I'm in it. So I feel like it's one of those books that is just sitting there that I'm just like, I really don't want to pick this up anymore. So this is perfect, even though it's a 2025 release. This probably is either going to be a read or get rid of. I don't see myself keeping this in hopes of liking it. So this is almost like fiction literature though. So I'm very interested to see how horror I feel it is, because I've heard a couple people say that it doesn't feel like horror at all. I don't know why I ever wear gray on camera. It washes me out. It's not great, but I just don't care. I just don't care. Every time I put this sweater on, I'm like, this is like the most comfortable sweatshirt ever, but I should never probably actually wear it because it is not great on my complexion. Oh well, it's still happening. I am 30% or 110 pages about into Where the Sleeping Girls Lie. I'm loving this. I'm having a great time with this. I am very, very excited about it. So I'm definitely going to be finishing this one at least, even if I don't end up liking it as much later on. But I will be definitely finishing it. I can see this being a really, really good young adult mystery. Ugh, that's the trouble we're having right now, is this is supposed to be a horror book. Is it listed as horror, or did I just like mess up because, oh, if it's not horror, technically, I should technically not be reading it for this video, and it probably shouldn't count towards my 4 books because I goofed. Where Sleeping Girls Lie? But I swore it was a horror book. And if it's not, oh no. Oh no. It's not a horror book. It's not a horror book. Okay. It doesn't even have a single thing listed as horror. Why did I think this was? I think it was the cover. The cover looks like it's going to be horror. Oh, shoot. Okay, I'm still going to read it. But technically, I need to pick something else because this is not horror. This is a horror purge. That's not horror. So I'm going to tell you what I think about it at the end of it, but I'm not going to talk about it super extensively. Oh my goodness. So I guess I have to repick. First, I did actually want to go over my list just to see if there's something, now that I'm kind of in the video and we're talking about it, I want to see if there's anything that I have that I just want to get rid of, because I have a little list right here. Okay, so we have, God, what did I do? I gotta erase this one because I have a list of stuff that I've read. So far we've DNF'd I Feed Her to the Beast, Our Crooked Hearts, The Chill, and The Haunting of the Sunshine Girl are the DNFs. The passes are Dead 11 and The Whispering Dead. And then current reads, or books that I already read, Titan of the Stars. And then current reads that we have picked are They Bloom at Night and The Hounding. And it was supposed to be Where Sleeping Girls Lie, but obviously that can't count because it's not listed as horror. The ones that we have left, let's see. Just Like Home, I'm so tempted just to get rid of that one, but I really want to know what happens at the end. Like, that's one of those that's like people either love or hate the ending, so part of me really wants to read it. We have The Violent Season. I don't think I want to read that anymore. I got it in a book box a while ago. It was one of my first unplugged book boxes that I like ever got like years ago, and I wasn't super interested in it at the time. And I'm kind of still not that interested in it. So I think I'm going to pull that one and purge that one just automatically. Okay, so these are the 2 books we're purging. The Violent Season, it also just has like a really bad rating. So 3.45. So a book that has a really bad rating and a book that I'm not interested in, that one's going to go. And then The Honeys. The Honeys has a decent rating. It's a 3.8. Beautiful cover. It's a sibling story. It is a cult story, but for some reason I just couldn't get into it. And it's so pretty. Like, it's even got like the beehive feeling to it. I just like didn't like the story so far, what I tried to read a year ago. So unfortunately, I am DNFing it. Let's pick the next one. Okay, here we go. We have, what is it? Just Like Home. There it is. There it is. Okay. It is rated 3.32. 3.32. Have not heard that many good things about it, except for either you love or hate the ending. And, oh gosh, yeah. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. Part of me just wants to read the ending. What if I just... No, because I don't want to do it. It's like, it's her taking care of her sick mom. What if I just read the ending? I'm gonna go read the ending. I'll be right back. Yeah. I don't know if I would have been happy. I couldn't get into the book. So I tried to pick it up before. I couldn't get into the book because of, I don't read a lot of stuff that's like mother-daughter relationships, especially when there's illness involved. I can't do it. And so I always was like, I want to read it just because of the ending, but why would I read an entire book I'm not interested in, and that would make me not happy to just get to an ending of a book? That feels really silly, to be honest. That feels like one of those situations of I was feeling FOMO because everyone was talking about it and I wanted to be a part of something, and I need to be able to sit and realize I don't need to do that. I don't need to do that. It's something I'm working on. So yeah, I'm glad I didn't, because it's fine. The ending's fine. It's whatever. So I am glad that I just read the ending. I don't know, I was kind of expecting something like really wow, and that I didn't feel that way about it. So I might research into it a little bit more, but I am going to end up purging that one. That one I've had for a really long time and I kept putting off. So that little section may have irritated me what I just did, but I honestly think it was better for me to do it that way. So let's try again. This is an interesting purge. This is a weird situation. Okay, ooh, this is a very tiny piece. What does that say? I can't read upside down apparently. The spirit bares its teeth. Oh, am I happy about this? Am I not happy about this? I don't know. Part of me is like, okay, that means hopefully the purge will be over sooner. Because I'm assuming I'm gonna like the spirit bares its teeth. I actually have it right here. Right here. It is such a pretty cover. I love the idea behind this one, and it is a beautiful cover. So this one is taking place in 1883, and our main character is, I believe, trans and being forced into a marriage and being forced to be someone that they're not. And yeah, our main character is a boy, not the girl the world insists on seeing. I think it's gonna be great. I think it's gonna be such a good book. So I don't see myself purging it, but there is that instance of you never know with horror. Horror sometimes can be everything you think it's going to be and work for you, and then just doesn't. So that's why the purge is so weird when it comes to horror, because I never know. So yeah, let's see where this all pans out. I am having a great time, guys. I'm having a fantastic time. Boy, do I have an update for you guys, and it is that I finished The Hounding. I pretty much finished this in one sitting. I ended up buying Pokemon ZA yesterday. And yeah, I definitely had to back this up a couple of times while I was listening to it. I just don't do audiobooks. I cannot pay attention to two things at one time. So either I have to listen to an audiobook just sitting there staring at the ceiling and just listening to things happening, which is something I don't enjoy doing, or I have to actually physically read the book, because the number of times that I had to back the book up yesterday while I was listening to it while playing Pokemon, because Pokemon will not stop doing like a narrative style game. That's not why I buy Pokemon. I buy Pokemon so I can catch the Pokemon. I don't buy Pokemon so Ted from across the street can tell me about how to navigate the city 7,000 times. That's not why I buy Pokemon. I just want to play my cozy little game of fighting the little pocket monsters. So, did that yesterday while listening to this. And you know what? I don't think it would have mattered if I read it physically, because I didn't really like this book. I'm so torn about this book because, like, I love the idea behind it. I love the choice, the narration style. I love the decision to tell this story about the girls through the eyes of the other townspeople. So this is following a group of girls, but not really. Like, the story is surrounding all about them. However, they are not telling the story. The people who are telling the story are the people in the town who are the outside viewers of the situation. And I love that idea. I think it worked for a decent chunk of this book. I actually think what let down this book was just the execution of it and what the author decided to focus on instead of focusing on what was happening. So instead, this turned into like a story about the boy being in love with one of the girls, and it was like totally unnecessary. Like, this needed to go so much further than it actually did. Like, this was just such a bland story for what it could have been. Like, it had such an interesting setup. But unfortunately, it just kind of was just super mild. It was super mild. They had the perspective of one of the women in town, which I actually do appreciate. I think that was necessary to temper everything else. You had the perspective of the boy who was obsessed with, in love with one of the girls. You had a perspective of genuinely evil person, disgusting person. And then you had the perspective of somebody who was also very different in town compared to what he's like supposed to be like as a man. So I did also appreciate that. Unfortunately, it was almost like too many people mattered in this book compared to the girls. So I really wanted to be reading, well, like wanted to, and what I think would actually be good for the story are two different things. I did not want to read from Pete's perspective. However, his perspective made the most sense for this book. So honestly, this really needed to just be Pete's perspective and probably Robin's perspective or Temperance's perspective, like one good person and one bad person, basically. And I think that would have worked a lot better, and to just go further with what was happening. And there was obviously like one kind of very traumatic scene that kind of set everything off, but I don't mean in that way. I mean just like the creepiness aspect they could have done more with. They could have had Pete be getting stalked by these girls or something, terrorize him for actions that he did. They just could have gone so much further with this story, and instead it turned into this just very bland, mild, just it was just nothing. It was just a whole lot of nothing at the end of this book. Like, I don't even really see the point of this story other than, I mean, what we already know from The Crucible and all these other books is that men will always find excuses to hate women, even if they're just existing in a space. So I loved that it talked about that, but again, it still just didn't take it to a level that you were like, oh, like you wanted it to like hit you with something crazy, and it just never did that. So unfortunately, I think I'm giving, if you had asked me last night, I would have given it a 2. I'm trying to like think about everything that happens in the book, but I really didn't like the end. I didn't like that this turned into like a weird romance at the end when it really shouldn't have. So I think I'm going to give it a 2.5 because there were aspects that I enjoyed. I generally mostly just thought it was a really boring book, but there was something I just didn't like about it. So it does lower the boring 3 rating to a 2.5. So I'm going to go with the 2.5 in this. I am uncertain if I'm going to keep this or not. This will eventually be purged. No matter what happens, if I keep it now or not, this will eventually be purged. I love this cover. I love this cover. It's so cool. I think it's different than a lot of other, you know what? I wouldn't really classify this as horror. This is borderline horror. This is borderline horror. It's, if you would classify The Crucible as a horror, then this would be classified as a horror, but other than that, this would not be a horror then. Anyway, that being said, I have not read any more of Where Sleeping Girls Lie because it's literally been a day, and all I did was listen to The Hounding. We're also not going to pick any more right now because supposedly, potentially, we may only have 2 left to read in this video. Anyway, I'm going to go edit and potentially listen to They Bloom at Night today, and I will update you when I have the next things that I gotta tell you about. So unfortunately, I am gonna be DNFing They Bloom at Night. I'm really surprised. I'm really surprised because this seems like the type of nature horror that I would absolutely love. Unfortunately, I really very much agree with one of the comments on Goodreads and their review of this. This feels like a fishing simulator where we're like, okay, go out on a boat. We're doing this on a boat. We're talking to this person on the boat. We are fishing for this thing. We have found something that is gross looking and we open it up and it looks totally normal. And it's like rinse and repeat over and over and over again. Kind of just expected more, I don't know, just something more from this book so far. And it really hasn't been anything. I do feel like it is definitely more focused on the family aspect and the emotional aspect of what is going on and what our main character and her mother are having to go through. But I just like, I'm not vibing with the story. Like there's gotta be something more, because otherwise it feels more like a like literary fiction family drama type of story, and I generally am not a fan of just family drama. For me, it just doesn't move a story along. Body horror, and that's definitely what this is. That's definitely what this was, and I kind of wish I had known that. I feel like if I had looked more into their first book, I would have gotten that hint of like, oh no, this is like gonna primarily be a lot of body horror. And not just like people body horror, but like it's like really gross stuff with like the fish and the creatures that they're finding. So I'm just not enjoying that type of horror that is happening in this book. And I'm really sad because this is a 2025 pickup for me. So this is a new book that I had really, really high expectations for. But I'm just not loving the actual plot and like what's happening because there's not that much happening. In other cooler news, I do have an arc that I just got in the mail. Like literally didn't know it was coming. It just arrived and it is coming out on February 3rd, 2026, and it is called A Good Intentions, and I think it's a thriller. Fans of psychological suspense will be obsessed. Fast-paced, constant sense of foreboding and unease, and an ending that will leave readers stunned. So it sounds like it could be good. I don't know because it's got like a twin situation in here, and it is an obsession story, and obsession stories can be really, really fun. So we're gonna give this one a shot eventually. Not in this video. I already have too much to do in this video. But anyway, we're back to picking because what do we have left? We read The Hounding. We DNF'd. They Bloom at Night. What was the other one that I picked? The Spirit Bears of Teeth. Spirit Bears of Teeth. So we still have that one to read. But like I said before, I'm trying to read 4 for this video because of the breaking the rules with the Whispering Dead. Okay, here we go. Is that 1 or 2? I think it's just 1. We have How to Survive at Camping. You know what? I'll take that. This is a brand new 2025 release, but this is a short story. It's not a short story collection. It's like, basically there is this, you know what? Let me go get the book really fast. It's like a super adorable. So it's this super cute, tiny little book, and it is following a girl who owns this like campsite, and it's like been in her family for a really long time, and now she's the caretaker of it. And the campsite is like, it has its like regulars, so they know all of the rules and stuff. A lot of new people will show up and won't follow the rules, and there's like ghosts and spirits and demons and stuff that live in the campsite. So if you don't follow the rules, they will get you. So the book literally opens with a set of rules, and like the first one is, when planning your camp, allocate 3 extra feet per tent. This leaves room for ropes and stakes. Totally normal. But then if you go down to number 3, it says, don't follow the lights. I can't believe I even have to say this. Don't follow the lights. And you're like, oh, that's weird. That's not a normal camping rule. And then rule 4 is like, have a sturdy waterproof container to hold your spare change of clothes and a blanket. And then number 5 is, you can buy ice from the children who approach your camp only if they have a wagon. Those are the children of other campers trying to make some extra spending money. If a group of children approaches you without a wagon, do not buy ice from them. Act like they don't exist. The ice is not worth the consequences. So it's like things like that. So that's so funny. So yeah, How to Survive Camping. This is going to be a lot of fun. So I have a feeling this may be it. How to Survive Camping and The Spirit Bears Its Teeth. I think potentially we'll finish up our video, but we'll see. So we're going to try reading these. I will let you know any updates as they happen. So not the update that I was expecting to give you guys, but I did start How to Survive Camping, The Man with No Shadow. I hate this. I despise this, and I am so surprised because like the rules sounded so cool. It sounds kind of like a fun book, and it's kind of described as a fun book. This isn't fun. This isn't fun. Our main character sucks. So I thought this was gonna be like fun camp stories of like her helping these campers out of situations that they put themselves in, and her talking about the lore of the camp, which we are getting the lore of the camp. It's just not fun lore. You would expect this to be like cutesy and just kind of fun, and it says, as funny as it is horrific. This isn't funny. This isn't funny at all, and I despise the main character. I despise the main character with every fiber of my being. I cannot stand her, and it's because she is legitimately a bad person. Like, she is. I thought she'd be morally gray. So I feel like I got the wrong memo about this book. I feel like I thought this was gonna be like a fun, kind of campy time, and that is not what this is. That is 1000% not what this book is. And so I am not interested in reading this. So I'm gonna purge this one, and this is a 2025 book that I picked up. I'm really, really sad about it. So I guess I didn't think I was gonna have to pick again from the jar unless I had spare time, and I was like, there's probably no chance I'm gonna have spare time. So no, we're picking again, because I've never expected to not like that one. I really thought that was going to be like a 4 to 5 star. So didn't expect DNFing it. I can't grab one of these. There we go. That was way harder than it should have been. Okay. So we have, what does that say? That says Reluctant Immortals. That's an interesting one. So this is by the same author as The Haunting of Velkwood, which is why I bought it. So this does not have really good reviews at all. Like, it actually has really bad reviews. However, I have liked the writing and the storytelling by Gwendolyn Kist. Is that the author? I have liked a book by this author before. Haunting of Velkwood was a 5-star last year, I think. I really loved it. And this is a totally different story though. So I'm a little nervous about it, but it's also one that, yeah, this is a good one to pick up because I think I got this one last year. Yeah, after I read Haunting of Velkwood, I checked what else she had written, and then I picked that one up. So, Reluctant Immortals, next up. You have to like count it as horror because it has to do with, it's following like the wives or the bride of Dracula and the bride of Carmilla? It's something like that. It's like some of the female characters that are related to some of like the classic horror people. And so it seems more My Dark Vanessa than it does a horror book, but if you really want to look at it, My Dark Vanessa could be considered a horror book in some angles. It's just a different type of horror. So that's kind of what we're looking at, because Haunting of Velkwood also is more psychological, feelings heavy, the horrors of what family members can do to other people. So I think this is gonna be in a similar line. I think this is gonna be closer to like a Dowry of Blood is kind of what I'm expecting, or a House of Hunger, that type of vibe of a story. We're gonna pick that up. I am still saving The Spirit Bares Its Teeth for last because I still think that is the highest likelihood of enjoying that one. So we're probably gonna try to move on to Reluctant Immortals next. I have a bit of a surprising update. Like, I have two updates for you yet again, and both of them are quite surprising. So first of all, I ended up reading the entirety of Reluctant Immortals last night and then into this morning. And as I said, this is the same author as The Haunting of Elkwood, and I gave Haunting of Elkwood a 5-star, and I am giving Reluctant Immortals a 5-star. I loved this book. I loved this book. I loved it. I loved it. It was so good. It is everything I like in horror. It is that psychological dealing with your emotions and dealing with like the horrors of violence against women. And it's like, yes, yes, it is everything I love because it explores that. It explores female relationships. And I love stories with strong female friendships. And I love it. I love it. And I love women taking back their power, and that's the entirety of what this book was. It was phenomenal. So we're following our main characters, Lucy from Dracula, and we are following Bee, who is Bertha from Jane Eyre. So the big difference in this book compared to a book like The Wife Upstairs is The Wife Upstairs was marketed as a book that was for fans of Jane Eyre. I love Jane Eyre. I will say that right up front. I love Jane Eyre. I love Mr. Rochester from Jane Eyre. Because I went into that book thinking it was like almost like fan fiction for Jane Eyre, and then it ended up being a hate novel about Mr. Rochester, I ended up not liking that because of how it was marketed. This leaves nothing to the imagination. This is, yeah, Mr. Rochester is an abusive asshole, and Bee was not who the book portrays her as. So I absolutely love the idea. This is taking place in the 1970s, and literally, Lucy and Bee are reluctant immortals. They don't want to be immortal. It was something that was done to them by these abusive men in their lives. And this is all about taking back their power and their actual real story. And they even bring it up. They even talk about all the media that talks about Dracula, the media about Mr. Rochester, and they bring up Jane Eyre. Jane Eyre is a character in this. It was just so well done. I do think, so this is a soft 5-star because I do think this actually would have been better as a novella. I do think it got a little bit lost in the center. Like, it kind of meandered a little bit and wasn't sure what to do, and then it kind of was able to bring it back. So I think if you cut out about 50 to 100 pages of just the meandering in the middle section, and there's like a romance in it that really doesn't need to exist. Like, it wasn't necessary between Lucy and a male character. It just really wasn't important that much, besides showing like her humanity, but I think you could have shown that in plenty of other ways. So if you cut out that and a little bit of the wandering around in the middle section, it could have been a novella, and it could have been like favorite book of the entire year. Yeah, this was so good. I love this. I'm really glad I found a 5-star in this, and it kind of just confirms what I think about certain types of genres within horror. So I feel like that solidified that quite a bit. Disappointing one. The disappointing one. And you guys know, if you've been paying attention, what book that I must have DNF'd if I'm saying I'm disappointed. And that is the highest rated one on this list, and that is The Spirit Bares Its Teeth. Oh, okay. This is a complicated one. This is a complicated one because I picked this up because, number one, cover's stunning. There's fantastic trans rep, and I've heard great things about this book. I love the narrator. I love the writing style. I was having a really good time until it hit our main character, Silas. He was talking about his sister-in-law's miscarriage, and it really, really did not sit well with me with how he was talking about her miscarriage. And I get it. I get it. Before you say you don't understand the scene, etc. No, I get it. I get what it was trying to go for. I still didn't like it. So basically, we're following our main character, Silas, who is a trans character, and they are stuck in Victorian England in the body of a woman, basically. Everyone wants him to be a woman and is about to marry him off to somebody who's going to see him as a woman and a piece of meat, basically, to bear children. And so, absolute nightmare, horrific thing. He is trying to figure out how to avoid this horrifying circumstance in life that he is headed towards. So I was really excited to read this. He goes to his brother, and the brother has just gotten married, so already Silas is resenting the wife and that the wife is brought up all the time, which I'm already like, ooh, okay. And then it's brought up that the wife had a miscarriage, and Silas goes on a bit of a tangent of saying that if he was in her place, he would be disgustingly happy and how she should be happy and it's a great thing and blah blah blah. And I was like, ooh, okay. Okay, so we're already lacking a massive amounts of empathy for other people. And I get it, because if he was in that situation, he would feel bad about it. But there was no point where he's like, I feel so bad for the sister-in-law and what my brother is going through. No, it's immediately, well, this is how I would feel about it. And like, I don't really understand why she's upset about it, kind of thing. And it was like, oh, see, I get where you're coming from, but the lack of empathy there for other people is not sitting well with me. And maybe I'm just more sensitive about it because I have a lot of friends. I'm at the age where a lot of my friends are having kids, and a lot of them have turned out to have fertility issues. And so that, in this, like, I don't want to have kids. I've always stated that. It's just not something that is for me, but I have always felt so badly for my friends and have felt their pain of what they're going through. And so reading a character who just has zero empathy for somebody else in potentially what could be the worst moment of their life, or even just like a traumatizing moment in their life, doesn't even have to be the worst, it's just a traumatizing moment. It's shocking, because miscarriage can sometimes for women be the worst moment in their entire lives. It can fracture marriages. It can destroy people's psyches and they don't recover from it. So to just see that blatant just disregard for what happened to the sister-in-law honestly put me completely off of the book. So I tried to put that aside and said, okay, let's just focus on it in a way that it's just like, he is just really, really focused on what's going on with him. He just can't see anybody else right now. Let's just focus on that. So I continued a little bit with the book, kind of still not the happiest about that scene having happened. But then there's and it was a warning at the beginning. I thought I was going to be okay, but I think the gore in this, and the medical gore specifically, is too much for me. So on top of not loving Silas as a character, I did not love the medical gore in this. So because of that, I am going to DNF this. I get why other people really, really enjoy this, but having so many problems just immediately going into this book, I just can't do it. I can't do it. I'm really sad about it. I think I would try another book by this author. Definitely not the new one. The adult book that has come out, that's definitely not for me. Very pregnancy heavy. But I'm going to go look at the other two books by this author. Again, I've heard great things about his work, so it might just be like the content specifically in this one. So I'm always willing to give authors multiple chances, except for specific people like Christopher Golden. We'll give them a second chance. Or the author who wrote The Ruins. But I am more than willing to try another book by this author. I just probably will pick it up at the library first. Unfortunately, that's getting purged, and I'm really upset about it because I just bought that this year and I was really, really excited about it. So that was really sad, going from a 5-star in Reluctant Immortals to then going to a DNF, Spirit Bears Its Teeth, which I was saving for last because I was sure it was going to be a 5-star or a 4-star at least. So that's really unfortunate. So we are back to the drawing board. I'm tired. I've read 3 books for this video. I got a 5-star, so I'm happy about that. But I'm kind of sick of horror at this point. I'm sick of horror, but I promised a 4th book, and I think this is going to come out Sunday. I think I'm going to choose one more. It's a DNF or not. That is it. That is it. I think that's what we're going to do. But we'll see. Because again, what is today? Today is Wednesday. So I have, today's almost over. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I have 3 days to read whatever is in here. So I think this is just going to be our last book, even if I don't finish it, because I'm kind of over horror right now, and I need a little break before I start reading a Stephen King book. So, okay, last book for this vlog, unless I just decide I don't want to read it at all, is, nope, is this empty? I thought it was empty. Leech, okay. I don't know if I want to read this. I don't know if I want to read this. Can I just like pick something? Can I just go totally. Oh, you know what? Where Sleeping Girls Lie. I'm still reading that. It's not a horror book. It's not a horror book. Was Rules for Vanishing? No, Rules for Vanishing is kind of big too. I'm kind of looking for like a smaller book because we have Delicious Monsters. We have Rules for Vanishing right here. Both of those are kind of chunkier, but this one is a young adult one. But this is kind of like Where Sleeping Girls Lie. So I know this has like ghosts in it. So it's classified technically as horror, but I think it's still more thrillery. So I feel like that doesn't count. What else do I have in here? Where did I put all my horror books? I had a lot in here. I'm going to go look at my horror books, and I am going to personally pick one that I actually do want to read because I want to finish this off on a good note. Okay? So I'm going to go find something, and it's going to be a nice little surprise for you because I don't really want to read Leech. I just don't. I'm back from my little temper tantrum, and I brought Leech. Okay, hear me out. I went up there, I was looking at my books, and I was like, why don't I just read Leech and continue this vlog? What is wrong with me right now? I literally think I just threw a temper tantrum. You guys are going to see a little temper tantrum that I just had. So we're going to read Leech, because that's the next one we pulled. We are continuing. This is wild. This is a wild circumstance. I'm just like in the weirdest mood tonight because of what just happened, the ups and downs of reading. That's why reading is so crazy. You just like can have the best time and then you can have the worst time right afterwards. So we're gonna read Leech. I've heard really weird things about this one. I got this a couple years ago. When did this come out? 2022. I think I got it in 2022 because it is hardback. It was during Black Friday sale at Books A Million when they were doing this massive like 60% off thing. This is weird. I've heard it's super weird. It's like sci-fi horror. We'll see. I've heard it's very strange. I think Books and Lala, I think Kayla read this and thought it was weird. So she thinks it's weird. I'm definitely gonna think it's weird. So let's attempt Leech. It is approximately 30 minutes later, a shower and some YouTube videos later. I'm going back to reading it. Just ignore everything that just happened before this clip, okay? Everything is fine. I am totally sane, okay? Okay, just putting that out there. It is the next morning, and I have read about 84 pages of The Spirit Bears Its Teeth. I got a little bit farther, actually got a lot farther, and I still am not enjoying it. I'm still not enjoying it. Like, I don't know if it really was that miscarriage comment that really just put me off with this, but I don't think it is because I've continued and I've kind of put it out of my head. I just don't really like anything that is really happening in this book, like besides the representation. I love the representation, but my problem is the same problem that I have with like Game of Thrones, where it's starting to feel very torture porny, where it's like torture for the sake of torture instead of just, it's like feels like torture for the sake of just absolutely shocking the reader instead of actually giving a message. Like there's almost too much. There's too much of it happening. And I just don't really enjoy that. Like I like more subtle, very emotional things. And I feel like you almost don't have enough time. Like I feel like at the end you'll get that emotional moment. But I feel like during the book, you just like don't have time to be emotional or think about anything. I think that's why The Haunting of Elkwood and like Reluctant Immortals, that works much better for me as a writing style because it is trying to slowly walk you through this very emotional time in people's lives and have you have time to like absorb it while you're going through it. And I think that's why this doesn't work for me, is because I don't have time to think about anything. It's okay, this happened, what's happening next? Who's fighting next? Who is getting attacked next? What is this next scene gonna be about? Like my brain is like anticipating horrible things happening next. So it just doesn't have time to take a second to sit with what's going on. And again, I feel like the point is to show you how terrible everything is, but it doesn't work for me. Like I start dissociating from the book. So for me, this style just doesn't really work for me. I need something slower, something more that tries to hook you emotionally in and makes you sit with your thoughts uncomfortably. And this is just kind of throwing stuff at you constantly. So unfortunately, I'm really sad. This does not work for me. This did not work for me whatsoever. And I'm really sad because, like I said, the cover is probably one of the prettiest covers that I own. And there's not like a ton of books that have really strong trans rep. I feel like most of the trans rep that I read, it's a side character. So this was like one of those books that was like, okay, yes, this is fantastic rep. I'm gonna read this. It's gonna give you a different type of perspective on things. And it was giving you a different perspective on things, but unfortunately I didn't like the way that it was doing it. So I am going to be looking for more trans rep books. I am probably going to try another one of his, but based on some of the reviews I was looking at, they sound very similar in style to this one. So he may not be the writer for me relating to how he tells a story, unfortunately. That being said, I then did attempt Leech, and unfortunately, I can't say anything about this book because I do think I'm in a horror slump because of The Spirit Bears Its Teeth. Like, I think, honestly, it was less Spirit Bears Its Teeth and more of reading a 5-star Reluctant Immortals and then moving on to a book that I thought was supposed to be a 5-star and really not enjoying it, and then trying to, like, move on from feeling those intense emotions back to back. And so Leech, I started it and I was so entirely disconnected from the story. So I think we're about done. So this is going to go back on the shelves. I'm not going to purge this. It's not fair if I would. I think what we're going to do is we are going to end this with The Pale House Devil. This is a new pickup. However, this is the book that came out last year. This is me trying this author because I love The Dead Take the A Train by Cassandra Caw and Richard Kadrey, but I've never read another Richard Kadrey. So I was easily able to tell what parts of the book were Cassandra Caw, but I was unsure if the humor and what style was Richard Kadrey. So I really want to read one of his books, and it is super, super short. I don't think it's going to be a purge, but I think it's a good way to finish this up, and I do think this will be a nice one that I will enjoy, and we can end off on a good note because I'm a little sad. I wish I'd finished this vlog with Reluctant Immortals. That would have been great. But anyway, let's read The Pale House Devil, and then we are going to wrap this whole insane vlog up. I am so happy to announce that we are done. We are done. We are done. We are done with this horror purge. We're finishing up the horror purge with a DNF. I don't, like, and no, it's not because I'm burnt out. I am burnt out, but the writing and the dialogue in this was horrifically bad. It was so bad. I was just sitting there reading this like, this is the cringiest dialogue I've ever read in my entire life. It was so goofy and not in like a good way, like not in a fun way. And I'm so confused because now I don't understand who wrote part of The Dead Take the A Train, because maybe this is just like a one-off and he just made these like extra silly, but The Dead Take the A Train, that humor was legitimately so funny. The storyline was so interesting, and there was just nothing in that humor that was at all similar to the humor in this. So I do want to pick up a different Richard Kadrey. It's just not going to be this novella series, which I'm really sad about because I was really excited to have a new novella series. I love novellas where you're following a PI, because that's what this is. You're following two basically assassins slash PIs. One is dead, one is undead, one is a living being, and one kills undead, one kills other living people. So it's like them taking on cases, and I think that sounds so fun, but I could not get past the dialogue and the cringiness of this book. So unfortunately, this is also a book I got in 2025, so I'm gonna be DNFing this, but wow, I couldn't even get through 100 pages. This is 115 pages. I read 30, and I literally could not do it anymore. So, I mean, that in itself is like, oh, yeah, no, you really didn't like this book. No, I did not like this book. So that is going in the DNF pile, and we're definitely purging that. I don't want anything to do with this series anymore. So that leaves us with a massive purge pile and 3 books read. I wanted it to be 4, but I can't do this vlog anymore. We have hit the point of no return. I am sick of doing this. I want to read fantasy and books specifically I know I'm gonna like. So I may be reading The Accomplice to the Villain next because I need a break from this. Oh, yeah. So let's go over what we did. Oh, and then Where Sleeping Girls Lie. I am taking a little bit of a break from it. I'm still only 30% into it. I'm still really enjoying it. I don't have the time to read it right now, first of all. And again, it's kind of following in the lines of this thriller stuff. So what I need to do is I'm going to go read a fantasy book. I'm going to go read a fantasy book. And that gives me still enough time to read a Stephen King because I'm only reading Misery. It's a small one. That gives me enough time to read Misery by Friday. And that Misery vlog is coming out on Halloween on Friday. So we're not doing a video on Wednesday, but we're doing the Stephen King vlog on Friday, and then regular content, I think the first Sunday of November, so after Halloween, that's going to be a new releases video for November. So that ends up working out. But so I'm going to read a fantasy, and then I've got to read Misery, and I've got to read The Ghostwriter for our book club for October. So after all of that's done, then I will re-pick back up Where the Sleeping Girls Lie, because it's a really long book and I want to give it the time that it deserves because I am enjoying it, and I don't want to just switch it on and be like, yeah, let's just listen to it without thinking. So I don't want to do that. So we've almost got like 3.5 books read. Not a full half, but close enough. So let's go over what we attempted to read. I'm just going to go over these rapid fire. So first, and it's not going to be in order. I don't remember the order of what I read these in, so it's just going to be random. So we attempted to read The Chill, and we purged it. We attempted to read Our Crooked Hearts, and we also purged this one. We attempted to read I Feed Her to the Beast. This is probably my most disappointing. The Spirit Bears the Teeth is close. This is probably my second most disappointing, just because I thought I'd really, really like this. The ballerina aspect just sounds so good, but just wasn't a fan of the main character or the pacing of that one. Then we have, this one just wasn't for me, Haunting of Sunshine Girl, purged it. The Honeys is one that has been living in my house for quite a long time, and every time I think I'm gonna pick it up, I just like don't want to, so that's a hint that I need to purge it. I can always get it from the library later if something comes over me and I want to read it again. Next, we purged The Violent Season because I just no longer am interested in it. Really wasn't interested in it to begin with, but I wanted the book box that was coming in, and I don't do that anymore. We have The Camp, which we did not try to read. I've heard terrible things about it. Next, we have They Bloom at Night. So this one was just really, really, really boring. It was, like I said, it was like a boat simulator. I love how that, someone said it in like the Goodreads comments, and that has stuck with me. The boating, fishing life simulator, and I was just incredibly bored. Just talked about this one. No, there's so many things wrong with that one. We have Just Like Home. I think I just pulled this one. I don't know if I actually showed you guys this book yet. I did not need to buy this book. This was a FOMO pickup. Knew it had bad ratings, just really loved the cover, and everyone else was like, oh my god, it was a crazy book. And honestly, for the ending. I'm hateful about this one. This one I'm the most mad at because the expectations did not meet what this really was. Like, I do not think this is a fun, frolicking romp of a horror book, which basically is kind of what it said. No, this is about one of the least likable characters on the entire planet, and I don't like her to the point where I would rather watch a wall of paint dry than read about this character. And that leaves us with the 3 books that we did actually read. Everything else we tried to read and ended up purging. This is what we ended up reading. So we read Titan of the Stars. I am keeping this one. I did give it a solid 4-star. I think it was fun. I do think this could have been improved upon, but I enjoyed what it tried to do. We then read The Hounding, which I gave it it's between a 2 and a 2.5. I still can't decide. I am going to purge it. I was able to sit with it for a little while, felt good being here, and now when I look at it, I'm just like, yeah, I love the cover, but I did not like the contents of this book. So we are going to be purging this one. It was so slow, didn't take stuff far enough. It was just a very timid book for what it could have been. And then the star of the video, we have Reluctant Immortals. I'm so happy we ended up reading this. I am so happy. So this is the point of these purges. The point of the purge is to get rid of these books that I am not enjoying, I'm not having a fun time with, without feeling the guilt of getting rid of books. Because I know some people do not like these videos. Some people do not like these videos because I am rapidly getting rid of these books that I bought at some point. A lot of these, like I said before, were bargain books. That's what I'm trying to avoid happening. So now, it's anytime I do one of these purges, it's like, oh, let me pull back on what I'm buying. Let me pull back on this. So it's a massive reminder of all the books that I do not need to buy. So that is the point of these purges. So, because every once in a while I get a comment about, why do you just get rid of these books? Like, why do you buy them in the first place? And it's like, that's the point. Why do I buy them in the first place? So that is the point of these videos, is to de-influence myself from buying books and try to use my library more. But the other point of these videos is to get to what I love about reading, and Reluctant Immortals is everything I love in a horror book. It's, again, people are gonna say it's borderline horror, and I do agree. I love the female take on Lucy from Dracula and Bea from Jane Eyre. I cried multiple times reading this book. It was just so good. It was everything that I wanted this book to be. Again, I do wish it was a novella. That is my only complaint about this book. But this will live in my head. This will live in my head. I would love her to make an entire series of different female forgotten characters. Like Ophelia would be a really, really good one to do. You could even do like the Bride of Frankenstein and have her more about like she was created for somebody else and this is what she is now or something like that. So you could do so many of these books that are following these female characters that are forgotten. You can even use like newer characters from books and TV shows as well. So it's just, it's so good. It's so good. So anyway, yeah, this is a 5-star. I absolutely loved it. It made the video worth it, although I'm pretty sure I threw a couple of temper tantrums throughout this video. But that is everything. So we were only keeping 2 books, and we are purging 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 books we are purging. I also will not be talking about any of these except for the Hounding in my wrap up. So anything that because like the Spirit Bears Its Teeth, I technically did get over 50 pages, but I just don't want to include it. Like I've talked about it enough in here. I'm not going to include it in my wrap up, but I will include the Hounding since I did actually finish it. Yeah, that is everything that I read in this purge. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This was chaotic. Like I said at the beginning, we are working on a fairy loot purge. I promise, fingers crossed, barring anything ridiculous happening, there will be a fairy loot purge that is coming out in November. So we are working on that. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you don't have anything else to say, but you want to let me know that you are here, leave a dog emoji because this is like my favorite cover from this video. So leave a dog emoji in the comments below. Otherwise, let me know what you're excited about. If you read any of these, if you enjoyed any of these. I wouldn't advise, like, you can try, but I will not be changing my mind on any of these because every once in a while I get someone who's like, no, wait, that was such a good book. I'm not gonna probably change my mind on any of these. If I do, I can get it from the library, and if I end up really loving it, we'll see if I remember that I love it and get a copy later in time. But I doubt I will be changing my mind about any of these. And also let me know down below if there are any purge genres you would like me to do, because I have done, I've done horror. Did I do romance? I don't remember if I did romance, but I've done book of the month. I will be doing an aardvark. I have a lot of aardvark books, and I'm kind of worried about it because I have not been loving the aardvark books that I've been picking up. So that's a big one. I'm really scared about that video, but I have some really old ones that we need to get through. So we will be doing an aardvark one, maybe in the middle of the fairy loot stuff to give my brain a little bit of a break from fantasy. And then we probably are going to potentially do by year maybe, or by oldest pickups. I don't know. We have a lot of stuff that we can do for the purge, but hopefully eventually the purges will not be necessary because I do have a side series that is actually coming from this one. So I'm really excited about that series. I'm not ready to talk about it yet, but the purge is all about older books generally and kind of sorting through what I'm still interested in. This newer series is all about new books, and I am so excited about it. So I'm working on that as well. So that is a purge adjacent. I still don't know what to call it. Oh, it's called, I totally did. It's called Shop My Shelves. Shop My Shelves with me, and it can be any book. I am focusing on newer books in that series, but it is, I go to the shelves, you come with me, and we're picking books based on something that happens in the video. So I'm really excited about that series. It should be starting hopefully November. It's probably not in November, more likely December or January will be the first video in that new series. So anyway, I've been talking too much. Leave a dog emoji if you want to say something but you don't have anything else to say. Leave a comment about whatever you guys want to talk about. If you liked the video, if you enjoyed it, definitely make sure you subscribe so you miss any future content. More purges coming, like I said. And yeah, that is everything that I have for you today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you guys in the next video.